Makes sense. Looking back on the decision to embark in the shipping industry and at Euronav, how was that decision? How did that process come by surprise? Because I think you have been quoted that it took you by surprise that you entered the shipping industry at first, at least.
You know, it's one of the to a certain extent the funniest story of my life because I didn't plan it at all. In fact, I was full of prejudice, and as I said, I think that people should have less prejudice. But for me, the shipping industry, in particular, the tanker shipping industry, was the image that I had was another ship on a pristine beach spilling oil. This is horrible. This is miserable, and believe it or not, I've always had a very ecological side in me. So I forced my parents to sort the garbage, even though it was not mandatory in Belgium when I was maybe 13 or 14 years old. I got a membership in Greenpeace when I was 16. I did some campaigns in the North Sea with them. I also have a membership WWF. And I was always very, very close and very concerned about the planet. So when I finished my MBA, what I wanted to do with the experience that I had and then this new diploma was to work for a private equity fund that was very focused on renewable energy. So, you know, at that time it was sort of emerging, but I saw that as a fantastic opportunity to change things in this planet. And I landed a job again. But what got in between was my wife. My wife, she's very ecological as well, but my wife told me, well, you know, I was a little bit worried about your career because after my MBA, I took 2 months of holidays and I really didn't do anything about it. I really wanted to enjoy my holidays. And so she thought I was a bit slow in landing a job. I mean, we were already in October, so that was 4 months after finishing the MBA. And she started distributing my CV left, right, and center to a network which was very focused on healthcare and charity. So I said, I'm not sure that I want to work in healthcare or I'm ready to do philanthropic work already. But anyway, she did that with obviously a good meaning. And so there was an acquaintance of her who said, well, I know a guy who know a guy and they need to reinforce the finance team and they're based in London. I wanted to go back to London. And so I've landed you an interview. So, oh, well, that's great. Thank you so much. What is it that they're doing? Well, they transport crude oil on board ships. Sorry? Uh, Great. Then I returned home and I said to my wife, this is complete bullshit. I mean, I'm not going to waste my time going to do an interview. Obviously, I will hate that job from the first day. This goes against all my values, everything that I've built in my life, blah, blah, blah. I started. And then she said, very a little bit embarrassed, I said, well, you know, the guy did me a favor and like an interview. I mean, out of politeness, if anything, just go and say, thank you very much. No, thank you. So that's what I did. Went to London and I arrived in an office where literally the first thing that the guy told me is, I'm sorry, but we no longer have the position. And I was like, yes, I don't even need to find an excuse. But that was a Tankers International pool. But we have a number of members in our pool, and one of them is Euronav. At the moment, it's a small subsidiary of a bigger holding shipping logistic company, but they want to spin it off and they want to do an IPO, so they want to become independent and basically they are next door. And I've arranged for an interview right now with them. Shit, I cannot escape from that one. So I changed floor. I went to the other side, and I was sitting in front of at the time was the CEO Patty Rogers, and then relatively soon after the beginning of the interview came Mark Savris, who was the owner of that company, and it was not much of an interview. It was really a session where they explained me what they wanted to do with the company and the reason why they wanted to make it independent, listing it on Euronext, and then use the share to consolidate the market. And then we had a fairly open conversation where I said, well, it's good and well, I wish you good luck, but personally, I'm a little bit more on the renewable energy side, and oil is, I understand the importance of oil, but it's not really my thing. And then, you know, one thing leading to another, I expressed my concern about oil spills and the reputation of the industry and all the rest of it. And they were listening, and they was, yeah, okay. And we finished the interview when Mark Saveris told me, well, so if I understand you well, you want to fight the system from outside because you think we're doing a dirty job and that we're polluting everything, and you believe that by being a member of Greenpeace, you're going to change things. So, yeah, sort of. Well, let me tell you one thing. If you want to change something, then you better be part of the system and change it from within rather than from outside. Because painting the hulls of ships and saying we're dirty will not change anything ever. So I reflected on that and said, maybe, okay. Anyway, we came to the conclusion that it was worth a trial. And certainly the IPO was a project that will take maybe 6 or 7 months. And after completion of the IPO, then obviously I would be free. I'm always free, but I would be free to go and do something else. And then I spoke to the private equity guys that wanted to hire me, and they said, well, that's perfect timing because we're still raising the funds. And in 6 or 7 months, if you can come back with the experience of having done or having led an IPO, then it's even better. So for me, it was like, again, an opportunity, but it was a win-win rather than win-lose. So that's what I did. And 17 years later, I'm still at Euronav.
That's incredible. That's an incredible story.